Hello, everyone. How y'all doing? Well, it's Thursday and it's a great day. Thank you for coming in. Trust you are good. And I got a lot of material to cover here, folks. And so I'm going to get right into the material and we'll talk afterwards. Thank you for the moderators. Thank you for everyone coming in. I see a lot of y'all in here. So let's get right into this material because I believe you're going to find this relevant. Maybe it's relevant to me, and I know it's relevant to a lot of others. And hopefully we can find some discoveries here together. So, I always do the PowerPoints. I tell everybody, if you want to get your audience to know and understand where you're coming from, put it down. All right, this is a quote that I have put together for this presentation. The battle for hell and heaven has been fought and won long ago. The battle for man is the war ongoing. Homo does not know who the victor is, nor does man know the enemy. And if we can begin to get into our nomenclature, the term Homo sapien, anytime you see anything represented by people, by the news stories, remember, we are not white, we're not black, we're not brown, we are Homo sapiens. And we have lost that. It's been one of the key things that I believe has been to our downfall. So let's get right into the subject matter. Do demons really exist? I mean, that's really the question here, isn't it? Do demons really exist? And what I'm going to bring is several different point of views. And at the end of this presentation, we can examine what our perspectives are on this subject that I think is not only controversial, it's ambiguous at best in its context, in its definition, and its actual meaning. So is our species in the middle of a cosmic war? Well, depending on how we look at the end of this, we can then answer these questions more relevantly. My question is this: did Homo sapiens imagine this into creation? I have, in all my years that I was in Christianity, in all my years of studying, in all my years of exploring the spiritual, never in any group, any conversation was the subject of imagination brought into the relevancy of the topic. Why? I contend, ladies and gentlemen, that when our species, our genus, became aware of this, you can call it a gift, you can call it an evolutionary jump in the genus of homos that date back 2.5 million years, that we developed this thing called imagination. And from there, it may very well have been the metaphor that we grew up in Greek mythology of truly Pandora's box. I believe our ancients knew more about imagination than what we give it understanding or apprehension in thought today. I believe this one thing, whether it was a gift of the Creator that left a long time ago, whether you think your perspective is of a God, whatever it is, it could truly be classified as a gift of the divine. No doubt about it. And I think that this one gift has been Homo sapiens' undoing, because I believe that it has created what we're going to be discussing in the very end of this. Let's continue. Freud said this: demons do not exist any more than gods do, being only the product of the psychic activity of man. Freud may have been a way out thinker, no doubt. I love the man. But I happen to believe that he may have had insight into something that we still today cannot comprehend fully. So let's look at our options here. All right. We're going to discuss one, spirit, a spirit. And in that context, we're going to talk about the fallen angels. Now, we will be taking this because, my growing up was in the Western theology, doctrination of humanity. That means growing up in America. So we'll be looking at this from more of a Judeo-Christian point of view. It's not to say that the Hindus and, Islam and others don't have their point of views. They all do. We'll just be taking it from this one. All right, 2, living sentient life form, Nephilim. Have to consider it. 3, ET. 4, interdimensional life form. Now, we're talking about demonic possession, demons. Because if you believe in demons, then you are believing in species. Intergalactic species is what you're believing in. No other way of classifying it. You are saying that if demons exist, and apparently the Pope believes they do, because there is a rash, an epidemic worldwide. We'll cover at the end of this the news stories. They can't train priests fast enough to do exorcisms. This is listen, if it is even remotely true, then it's no damn devil that's doing it. I'll assure you that, but let's go on. Interdimensional life forms, parasitic life forms. Now, this is a living fact. Mental illness, most often the time. And then we'll look at the unknown. So let's take it from the fallen angel's perspective, right? The wildest story of them all, or is it? I mean, come on now. This is what most people's vision of God is. I'll tell you what, he's no old white dude sitting on some throne, right? In fact, the modern concept of this kind of God, this is a schizophrenic, a psychopath. And you'll see why. But let's continue. So the question is, in this particular genre, we're going to be looking at an epic war. Is it still ongoing of an alien species, non-homo? The only way that this can be in reality is an alien species that is non-Homo-Sapien. Homo meaning man. Homo specifically because of the genus of who and what we are. Otherwise, we're no different than prey. Now, depending on what you believe or don't believe, it appears that they were here. It lists this species, whether they were bipedal or not, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they're still here. I don't know. So we're going to be reading this from the book of Enoch. And also, excuse me, from the book of Genesis. We know the story well. It came to pass when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them. Give me a second here. I have to get this toolbar set. There we go. And the angels, children of heaven. Now, right there, again, why philosophy is so important, particularly ancient philosophy. If you can begin to get into the mind, let's say of a person, let's say 100 BC, what a journey that is. 1 AD. Fascinating. And saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Semjenja, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. Time out. All right, wait a minute. So, first of all, I was under the impression through the teachings that angels didn't have a free will. So how could they suddenly have free will? All right, number one. Sin. Hard to figure out what sin is, number one. But two, apparently this species can commit it. And that would then imply that if it can be done, it was done. I don't know. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. I mean, this is some sweet, sweet mind coitus, isn't it? Then swear they all together and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they went in all 200. Now, isn't it interesting that in one portion of this book, they say that the angels number into the trillions? So we got a species that says that they're supposed to be into the trillions, which, you know, by all definitions, they seem to have a very detailed hierarchy type of government, society. And so out of all these trillions, they got 200. Okay. Who descended. Now, how did they descend this? Did they descend in ships? Did they just materialize? Were they interdimensional? Did they step through a portal? Was there an incantation or spell given that allowed them to materialize? Did they have a special device that somehow cloaked them? You got to get into this. You just can't say that they just simply appeared. When are we going to grow up? It doesn't happen. If something is going to materialize, then it's taken on photons and matter. When we decide to get off the diapers and start wearing the big boy britches, maybe we'll start figuring this out. So the story goes on, gives the names of them. They went down, they took wives. So the question now has to be asked, are Homo sapiens just prey? Because no matter what religion, no matter what holy book you look at, whether they be the Bible, the Quran, the Vedic, whatever holy book is out there, the only conclusion you can come to is that Homo sapiens are nothing but meat, prey. If you believe demons exist, then this is your inevitability. We are just prey. We continue the story. So, the species, this non-Homo sapien species, are they shapeshifters? I mean, that's my question. We got to start looking at this practically. If these creatures exist and they can cloak themselves, they're using a technology, not magic, not woo-woo-woo, you know. No, they're using a technology, a knowledge, a wisdom that we, guess what? Homo sapiens are beginning to figure out ourselves. The tables are turning. Let's continue. Now, the story went on that they took themselves wives, they became pregnant, and they suddenly were giving birth to giants whose height is 3,000 ells. Now, if you translate this, this is unbelievable. It's part of the problem that with the book of Enoch. This represents, are you ready for this? Some sort of a hybrid, Homo, whatever they are, Nephilim, to 4,500 feet tall. Now that is hard to imagine. That's a rapid growth spurt, you have to admit. If a Homo-Sapien gave vaginal birth to a hybrid, then the growth would be incredible. Sounds like genetic mutation, genetic manipulation. And it said that they grew so big that they could not feed themselves. The earth couldn't produce food. And they began to devour Homo sapiens. Well, that's a bad day. And then it appears that they had coitus with birds, with beasts, with reptiles, with fish. Then it seems like they got into blood ceremonies. Wow. I told you, this is the wildest story of them all. Now, if we're buying this point of view, then it's not just a galactic battle, folks. This is an interdimensional battle. This is beyond us, beyond our comprehension. We don't have the technology yet. We've gotten close now with quantum computing. Now with DNA computing, we're getting close. Apparently, if you believe D-Wave, we've already broken the interdimensional equation. And if this is a species that has the ability to transmutate into different realities, whoa. How does a species such as Homo sapiens battle this? And the story goes on how this leader, Azazel, began, and all these angels, and they're not angels. They can't be. I mean, you can define it by your religious dogma. They're aliens. They must have a gene. They are bipedal in their makeup and a lot more. And supposedly, they start teaching us how to commit fornication. Now, let me tell you what. We know how to do that the minute we're born. I mean, it's just a part of us. But anyway, as the story goes, so these are not of our genome. They're bipedals. But how do we fight something that is not of our genome? What, do we cast spells on them? Is this how the game's played here? Can they die? Are they in fact the gods? Or are they in fact invaders? That there never has been a God. Never was a God. A creating force? Yes. Invaders? I can go for that. Invaders many times become gods. We raise them up into the mythos of our minds. And if these are interdimensional species, no way you look at it, they would be gods. And if they have a hierarchy amongst themselves, that means we're screwed, folks. Because if they're bigger than us, better than us, more advanced than us, we're screwed because you're going to worship what they do. And as the story goes on, apparently God got upset. You know, the question I can never figure out is that the story goes that it was Gabriel and Michael that went to God and said, hey, I don't know how to tell you this, but have you seen what they're doing down there? It was as if this God, this Elohim, this Yahweh, this Baal, however you want to name him, it was apparently unaware. I don't know. It seems like they weren't aware the other time when the story of the Tower of Babel was going on. Kind of blows the whole all-knowing thing, right? All present, etc. But apparently, this God got pissed off and said, well, listen, I didn't have anything to do with them. I didn't create them. There's nothing of me in them. Now, that's telling in itself. And the story goes, Gabriel and Michael takes them down, throws them into the pit, and there they are yet today. Any way you look at this story again, they are non-Homo-Sapiens. Just plain out non-Homo-Sapiens. Now, these guys, they are Homo. They're apparently a part of man of some kind. If they were given birth, right, then if man gave them birth, right, then they're part of us. Now, many will say, well, they never lived. Well, the geology record would be wrong. So would be the paleontology record. I don't know. But legend says they ruled the world for a very long time. And we've got evidence. Fact of the matter is their species went extinct. The genetic mutation did not take. This world could never support such a life form. Excuse me. But that's how nature is. So as we went on, you got the story with Noah, that as the result of this, because, and here's where it says, and then to Gabriel said the Lord. Lord means ball. Remember, literal translation, Lord means ball. Proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication, and the children of the watchers from amongst men, and cause them to go forth, send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle for the lengths of days, yada, yada, yada. So this is apparently where demons come from, disembodied spirits. And the story goes on that this was the reason for judgment. Now, we know of another point of view, that there was a celestial object coming by Earth. And that celestial object put our planet upside down. And the result of it was this natural cataclysmic disaster. But the story, as you read it, though, as I said before, you have to submit. And then it goes on to say how it went. Now, this story of reward and punishment, I ask and I contend, is nothing more than the creation of Homo sapiens. It was our way to kind of deal with the environment. Again, I ask you, what does a God look like? How would you know if it was a God? Our species, Homo sapiens, we lie to ourselves. We deceive ourselves. The evidence shows there has never been any God that has manifested on this planet. But we'll continue on. So, the story goes on with Enoch, how this all ended up. So, we've now covered the angel side. Let's begin to take another look and let's begin to define what is spirit possession. Because now we have to focus in on the Homo sapien itself, its makeup. What is a Homo sapien made of? It has a body. It has the ability to speak. It has the ability to think. So Okay, we'll take that as our basis. Now, spirit possession is a term for the beliefs that animals, demons, extraterrestrial gods, and spirits can take control of a human body. The concept of spirit possession exists in many religions, including Christianity, Buddhism, Haitianism, Voodoo, Wicca, Hinduism, Islam, and Southeast Asian and African traditions. In a 1969 study funded by the National Institute of Mental Health, spirit possession beliefs were found to exist in 74% of a sample of 488 societies in all parts of the world. Depending on the cultural context in which it is found, possession may be considered voluntarily or involuntary and may be considered to have beneficial or detrimental effects on the host. Within possession cults, the belief that one is possessed by spirits is more common among women than men. Channeling is considered a form of possession. You can get into how this works, but you can see that amongst Homo-Sapiens, it's pretty widespread. The belief that this can actually take place, that an animal, a demon, an extraterrestrial, a god, a spirit can take control over your body. Now, I want to bring this kind of into another context because, you see, actually, there's a lot of truth to this. And I'm going to cover it a little bit later in this, but this is important. Taking control of your body. Demonic possession. Demonic possession is believed to be the process by which individuals are possessed by malevolent, preternatural beings, commonly referred to as demons or devils. Obsessions and possessions of the devil are placed in the rank of apparitions of the evil spirits among humans. Okay, so we have the question we have to stop. We're going to learn. We're educating each other here. We can't just simply run across this. The apparitions of the evil spirits. Who are they? Are they interdimensional beings? The only way you can begin to look at the spirit realm is that they have to be, or our dimension is multidimensional within itself. So are evil spirits Homo spirits? They're not Homo sapiens. So what genus are they? What species are they? When are we going to grow up? Either they exist or they don't. If they exist, then let's begin to classify them. It is obsession when the demons act external against the person whom it besets. Okay? We would call that oppression. And possession when he acts internally, agitates them, excites their ill humor, makes them utter blasphemy, speak tongues they have never learned, discovers to them unknown secrets, and inspires them with the knowledge of the obscurest things in philosophy or theology. Well, hell, by this definition, we're all possessed. Is this not insanity, folks? So I can speak in tongues. Does it mean I'm possessed? Does it mean I'm possessed if I have a desire to learn philosophy? I mean, come on, folks. Descriptions of demonic possession often include erased memories or personalities, convulsions, i.e. epileptic seizures or fits, and fainting as if one were dying. Other descriptions include access to hidden knowledge in foreign languages, drastic changes in vocal intonations and facial structure, sudden reappearance of injuries, scratches, bite marks, or lesions, and superhuman strength. Unlike in channeling, the subject has no control over the possessing entity, and so it will persist until forced to leave the victim, usually through a form of exorcism. You know, you have to just step back there and let's dissect this again. So who's causing the manifestations? Is it the demon or is it the individual? Is it the individual's imagination that become greater I mean, because if this is what is saying is happening, that these bodies, our bodies, can be possessed against our will, that is an enemy. That's someone who needs to be killed. That's someone who needs to be put to death. They're an enemy of our species. Because it sure seems they are doing it to us. Many cultures and religions contain some concept of demonic possession, but the details vary considerably. The oldest references to demonic possession are from the Sumerians, who believed that all diseases of the body and mind were caused by sickness demons called Gidim, or Gaidim, as you can see. The priests who practiced exorcisms in these nations were called sorcerers, or as opposed to the Ansu physician who applied bandages and salves. Many cuneiform clay tablets contain prayers to certain gods asking for protection from demons, while others ask the gods to expel the demons that have invaded their bodies. If our ancestors believe this predates the Bible, folks. This predates your Adam. This predates your Noah. This predates your Moses. This predates everything. All I can say is we're screwed if you go by this. And it was well believed. Shamanic cultures also believe in demon possession, and shamans perform exorcism. In these cultures, disease are often attributed to the presence of vengeful spirits, or loosely termed demon, in the body of the patient. These spirits are more often the specters of animals or people wronged by the bearer. The exorcism rite usually consisting of respectful offerings or sacrificial offerings. So, are we saying that there is a species that exists that can cloak themselves, that can have possession and cause pain, cause disease in our bodies? Folks, if this thing is, and the thing is, most of as you've seen, the world population believes in some form of demon possession, spirit possession. We're screwed. How do you fight this? Is this the cause why we haven't advanced? Is this why in 6,500 years of written records, our society, our species has not progressed? I don't know. Christianity holds that possession derives from the devil, i.e. Satan, and one of his lesser demons. In Christianity, Satan and his demons are actually fallen angels. What species is this? If it's been allowed for all this time, something is dramatically wrong here, folks. Are Homo sapiens nothing but prey? So what's going on here? Exorcisms. We all know of the movie that was made, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Actually existed. One of the most documented cases of demon possession. We have the actual footage of her. We see people around the world. Is this drugs or is this actual entities taking control, moving our sentient minds out? Maybe that's where the term losing your mind comes from, and replacing it with another mind. That's scary crap right there, folks. And why is it that these demons seem to have a problem with the cross? If demons existed before the cross, why would they have any reaction to a cross? Maybe demon possession is actually good for us. Think about it. It's a good workout, better than any drug. Certainly it seems to be both ecstasy and pain. I don't know. So we see this all the time. So if this is what really happens, maybe that's why they forbid mirror gazing. Seriously. maybe this is a reason. Maybe the reason why ghosts or demons seem to attack us is to compel the give and take account of the targeted person to fulfill the ghost's desires. Well, that's promising. Ghosts have desires. Okay. If the ghost has been angered, all right, that says they have emotions to stop the spread of spirituality. How many of us have ever thought about that one? If the person visits the place the ghost haunts, I don't know. Maybe you can pick this up like you can pick up a, virus. But we do know that Christianity believes heavily in this, that these super beings, these beings that have apparently been able to defeat God, they don't seem to be too afraid of them. Powers of the imagination, my friend. Powers of the imagination. How many of you are going to get this one? 1 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 4 is... Are you beginning to see what we have the ability to create? Truly is only in our mind. Are demons religious? I mean, that's the first question you have to ask. Do they have different beliefs? Are some Catholic, some Baptist? Are they bilingual? Are they Christian only? Apparently, we know they're not just Christian. So how would a Christian demon be affected by a Buddhist demon? I mean, Buddhist doesn't believe in Christianity. I mean, and can they speak different? I mean, if a person's possessed and you got this demon speaking, did they suddenly know multiple languages? Or are they just speaking English? Or are they just speaking gibberish? I don't know. I got to know, are they religious? Now, let's maybe look at this from maybe a different point of view. Let's talk about life forms from space. They exist. Every day, raining down on top of us are trillions of viruses. What qualifies as an ET, by the way? Did God create them? That's the question that the church doesn't want to answer. Are these demons? I mean, that's the question. Did God create them? Maybe these are the gods. Each different religion has a different God. Oh, yes, that's how it works, isn't it? That's why I don't like religion. Scares the crap out of me. Is this God, our creator? Could be evidence of that. Are these aliens, angels, or demons? Is it the return of the Nephilim? Let's talk about ghost, all right? One of the things I love about ghost is that it really does answer our question, is there life after death? Because it would say yes. By the way, I just want to say welcome home. Yeah, take a good look here. It's waiting for you, So, is he alive? Alive? Energy? Photons? Sentient? Conscience? Do spirit ages? I mean, if you die at old age, do you stay an old spirit? If you didn't make it all the way through, are you stuck in that age? Do spirits dance, sing, feel sunshine? I mean, because it seems like you got the demons that seem to be pissed off at everyone, and then you got others that are just like, hey, this is just the most coolest thing in the world. Yeah. Do spirits love? Do we torment ourselves in the afterlife? I mean, sometimes you just have to ask yourself, do we all stay or just some? I mean, if they can take possession of us, I guess they're jealous, right? I don't know. Or maybe it's this: Homo sapiens have not mastered imagination. Think about it this way: our abilities are ahead of our understanding. We have become lost in our imaginations. If it's just us, then we are truly the captain of our own destinies. Our creations are now creating creations. We don't understand the gift of imagination. Powerful. Homo sapiens are the divine. No other way that you can look at it. Either, even if you take the point of view that demons do exist or we had created this ourselves, it's all evidence that we are truly Homo sapiens, are of the divine. Or maybe, just maybe, you and I and the 7 billion plus people are all infected with a living parasite that is greater than ourselves and has passed on. The parasite is from birth to birth to birth. A sentient life form capable of exerting control over its host. This is an actual brain tissue. Maybe all of us are controlled by something that we have no ability to recognize. They seem to be everywhere. They tell us they live here, in you, me, in our brains. This is their universe. This is how they survive. This is how they've survived for billions of years. They exist because the host never recognizes them. Maybe they are our God. This is another one. They live in human brains. They're telling us that they live in us. In modern medicine, it is now suspected that an underlying cause of what sometimes appears to be demonic possession is actually anti-NMDA, a receptor of encephalitis. Conclusion: if the sapiens did not create these beings, then this is a war against all Homo sapiens. They have declared war on us. We have been their victim. We have died by the billions. And if this is in fact a war, then we must stop killing each other and start killing them. It's time for us to rise above this, stop killing the wars and everything else that never yields anything. We can't live in peace because they won't let us live in peace. And this is a declaration of an invading species upon another. And I'm telling you, folks, it's time we declare war back on all non-Homo sapiens. You have killed us long enough. We're coming after you. So there you go. Give me 1 second. And yeah. So there's my little presentation. I told you it would not be boring, and it's not. And there's 200 people of us in here. So there you go. I presented a lot of different possibilities on this subject of demonic possession. Do they live? Are they spirits, alien invasion, or of our own creation? Hi, Desert Rose. How are you doing? Raven Wolf, how are you doing? Well, I'm getting to see everyone in here just to say hello to everyone. So, you know, I think it's something that I've given some food for thought. I just believe that if we've been invaded, as I said, I don't know how many of you saw the Lord of the Ring, if you've read the books or if you saw the movies. And Gandar said it best. The war is about Middle Earth, about us. And apparently, we've had enough. I've had enough. I've had enough of seeing my species being sacrificed, seeing the bloodletting that takes place every day. And if we can't seem to have the ability to defeat this, because by all evidence, we are incapable of defeating this. It's just the reality of it. I'd love for all of us to be holding hands and singing Kumbaya and giving hugs and saying high five, but the reality is the rest of us are out there dying. We're dying in the streets. We got people, politicians that feed upon us. I don't know if they're in league with them. I don't know if it's a parasitic value that takes place, but all I know is our species preys upon ourselves. And it seems to be dictated by external forces that our species believe in imaginary characters. I challenged, show me a God. Show me your Christian God. Show me your Muslim God. Show me what this God looks like. Because it hides. It hides behind the imagination of each individual. And yet, we persist by going through these rituals that somehow or another, that it's going to have mercy upon us, and somehow or another, we're going to stop killing each other. No, we hoard. You know, isn't it amazing that the 1% of the wealth of the 1%ers of the population, and actually now they say it's less than that, it's 0.5%, control 80% of all the wealth. And that's crazy, folks. We are an insane species. We believe in unimaginable gods. We write words that they say are contributed to God. Did God stand in front of someone and dictate them? The only way that that could have happened is that the person would have been possessed. And if a person is possessed doing writing, that isn't natural. Well, cool beans, I don't know if God is a frequency or not, but when are we going to stop playing games here? I get sick of this when I hear people preaching peace, unity, and at the same time, they're stealing and killing. I don't know, and I'll get off my high horse. I love our species, folks. And if I can start a message and stop us talking about races. You know, you got a senator from the state that starts with an M who claims a heritage that doesn't exist. And the problem is, what does it matter? What does it matter if I'm white, blue, pink, brown, yellow, black? It doesn't matter. We all bleed red blood. It's not about one nation against another nation. And it's all done because every nation believes it's right. It holds its banner of God going forth into battle. We march on, you know? It's crazy. Whew. All right. Yeah, Crystal D, you're absolutely right. It's not going to stop until there's nothing left. You know, hopefully we can start a new evolution of thought. And maybe we can advance from the cognitive revolution now to an awareness that we are a species evolution. We're dying, folks. Our species is being transformed before us. Transhumanism is real, and yet we get lost into the dogmas and the secrets of the past that we have no understanding of. And yet the killing goes on. People go hungry. Friday night, join me. We're going to have Princess Warrior on here. We're going to have a special guest. Sherry is coming on. We're going to have Trish, and we're going to invite some others. And we're going to raise money amongst our community to help feed people. I don't see any of the other YouTubers doing anything. I just don't see that. I don't see them going out there and physically helping. Now, I'm sure there may be out there. I just don't know of them. I'd like to know of them. Where we're going to raise funds. We're going to raise funds where we're going to help food bank. We're going to start feeding people. And maybe we can start doing this in all different places of the world and let people know that there's an alternative. We don't have to stay in the same mind coitus we're in. We can really go beyond that. So join me Friday night. This is going to be fun. Let's just really show the rest of the community what we can do. And I do appreciate it. Well, I'm going to end this early. Yeah, you are responsible for your own planet. We're all are. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Each of you are a light being. You're a sentient life form. The spark of the divine shines in us. I'm convinced that's what makes our species so great. I don't know if at some point in time the divine came back through here and, began to say, because again, anthropologists can't nail it down. Something happened about 70,000 years ago. Now, they say that it's the result because we discovered the ability to make fire. And when that ability began to be passed on, that's another weird thing. How did it get passed on? But it changed our culture completely. More importantly, it brought into our genetic makeup what they call the protein factor. This protein factor started a genetic reaction within us. And as a result, our craniums began to grow. And as a result of the cranium increasing in its capacity and the complexity of what we now know, what we have today, it's thought that this is where the imagination came from. And from there, we developed fiction. And it sparred the imagination. And the reason why imagination is so important, if you look at it particularly from the geological record, the advances that we made as a species was remarkable. We began to advance much greater. And I think that's where entrepreneurship comes from. It comes from the imagination. We all have one. And the rest of it is history. So, all right, all my best to every one of you. Appreciate you so much. Y'all are just great. And support everyone else out there. I mean, I could go through the whole list. I just see such growth taking place. When I look at people like with Jeff Doherty and Sandra D, joining together. And when I see Brian and I see Violent Flame and I see so many others coming together and unifying, teaching, exploring, questioning, that shows there's growth. It shows that there's great hope. And maybe it's because we are near an event. I don't know if it's an extinction event. I don't know if it's a species event, but I got a sense something's happening. And it's evident by the love that you show to one another here. People, I say it all the time, who come on here, they all respond back saying, that's an unusual group. Those people really are gentle, they're kind, they're respectful. I said, yeah, they're human beings. We bring joy to each of our hearts, and that's what we do. So, folks, have a good one. I'll be on tonight over on the Artists First Network, going to explore a little bit more on the species reset. We've got another worldwide audience out there on the Artists First Network, and it gives us an opportunity to help spread at least our consciousness. They can take it or they can reject it. All right, folks, much love to all of you. We'll see you again real soon. All right, bye-bye. No, join us on Friday night. Make sure to do that, okay?